I'm haunted by the kiss that you should never have given me. My heart is beating, hoping that that kiss will not become a scar. You are in my very soul, tormenting me.
Hold me, like you did by the lake on Naboo. So long ago when there was nothing but our love.
The Jedi turned against me. Don't you turn against me?
Anakin, you're breaking my heart. It's only because I'm so in love.
No. No, it's because I'm so in love with you.
Liar! Liar!
House of Gozer.
Hey everybody, welcome to the House of Gozer podcast, where we bring you the best in geek every week and try their best not to fuck it up in the process. As usual, my name is Christian Ellis.
Jason Mabry. Brian Mullet. Aaron Mitchell.
So let's start off this podcast the way we start off every podcast with the big thing.
The big thing.
It is so big.
Okay, so my big thing this week is I just got to talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer. And I don't believe that my big thing is a trailer. But my big thing is a trailer that is not even out yet.
Because it's going to be awesome.
The Guardians of the Galaxy, February 18th, so... Tuesday, so the same day that this podcast is on will be the day you should just roll over to YouTube and check it out. Because I can't wait to see it. I'm all thumbs on this.
Ridiculously excited. I saw the action figures that they put the pictures out for yesterday and the Legos. The Legos look better than the action figures. Gamora looks like Jean-Claude Van Damme with green paint. And it looks terrible.
This is bad. Why?
Well, if you're going for that, but I think they're trying to look like Zoe Saldana, and it just doesn't do it for me. So hopefully they'll maybe shape that up a little bit.
So was it a prototype or something?
Yeah, I think they're prototypes. I hope they're prototypes.
They're going to have like the official ones out at Toy Fair.
Toy Fair is
and then
like
there's two other figures that we get to see that we haven't seen yet, which my guess is Ronan.
Ronan the Accuser.
And it's hard to tell who the other one could be. There's so many aliens in this movie. I can't wait.
The only thing I did is I looked at the picture and I went, there's 20, 40, 60, 80,
you know,
$100.
Groot is the Build-A-Figure, so you've got to buy them
all.
out. You got to buy them all to get Groot.
Son of a whore.
That means you have to open them up, too.
I do. I opened up all my stuff.
Some things I'll open, some things I won't. It just depends.
It depends.
I have to open it all.
Speaking of figures, I was pulling up these pictures of the new Transformer figures that just popped up. There's Grimlock.
Oh, look at him!
He doesn't look bad, and he does transform.
all right.
Wait a minute, is this like a deluxe I'm looking at?
I don't know, but we've been curious about whether they're going to actually make the Dinobots transform, because we don't really know. But we know the toys do, which doesn't really necessarily mean the movie ones will.
It's really funny because we were talking about that, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago? We were talking about whether the Dinobots will transform or not. And it's hilarious because I just was reading on Cybertron.com, and I was reading that a lot of the people were like, oh, we don't know that they'll transform. That's like a big thing. Even in the forums, they're talking like, they're probably not going to transform because Michael Bay sucks dick. And I'm like, I don't know, man.
Fuck you, Michael Bay.
But it would be sweet. There, I see it. That looks like a basic. That's Hound.
See, I don't like how any of these transform. They've really dumbed down the transformation.
They did. They have. And I'll be honest with you, when I'm seeing like these, like, and the ones I'm looking at, we can't reference them. We'll get pictures up on the Facebook page.
They transform like GoBots.
I like GoBots, damn
Don't
it.
talk about Scooter.
But that's exactly how it is. It's very, very basic.
Well,
you stand the car up on its end, you pull the arms out, you flip the head back, you're done.
Well, we don't know what classes these are, and Transformers are in classes. There's Basic or Scout, Deluxe, Voyager. They're all.
You forgot to say Nerd Alert before you went into all that.
Nerd Alert. So these look very basic to me. Like this kind of looks like a Deluxe. This one kind of looks like a Deluxe. And you know what? We'll put pictures up on the Facebook page so you guys can reference this stuff with us. I should have them up. I'd like to know who this guy is.
What is it?
It looks like Bludgeon. He's blue. And if you notice the samurai theme going on with these,
Yeah.
I bet that's Drift. Is who I bet that is. And the faces, they don't look. And I noticed the message board on Cybertron.com, and I'll because I'm on that site a lot. That said that the robots, when they walk, they don't look like they're a lot of complex moving parts anymore.
They did back in the day.
Yeah, like they did, like they have for the last
I
three
say
movies.
back in the day, but it was like what, 3 years ago?
Like that's Lockdown, I think, as I'm looking here. But they don't have the names up on
Isn't
them.
Lockdown the Lamborghini? The gray
Yeah,
Lamborghini?
yeah, he's the black Lamborghini. No,
I
well
like
look,
it
he's
a
got
lot.
Yeah, see, these are the one-step conversions. So these are the Scouts.
Terrible.
These are the tiny, small
But I
ones.
read an article, and I don't remember where they were talking about they were going to make them all easier because kids nowadays don't have the patience.
And I can tell you, adults don't have the patience either. Because I transformed. I have the Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Prime, and it's a beautiful figure. But when I sat down to try to transform it, I got frustrated and threw it. So, because I'm of the G1, I'm of the G1 generation, so I like my
And
Transformers.
some of those were still pretty complicated. I mean,
Yeah,
most
and
of
you
them
know what?
were
I was going to
easy.
bring in Punch Counter Punch. I actually have him.
Oh, that's awesome.
But this Grimlock I'm looking at, and we'll put the pictures up. Could you send these to me?
Yeah. It's on a comic movie, but I'll email it to you.
Yeah, please do, because I want to put these up, and we'll credit them, of course. But Grimlock looks fucking great. I hope that he's going to be huge.
He's going to have to be. Well,
He's going to be fucking
Ride
huge.
him like a horse.
Oh, my God. Okay. Well, there you go. That's awesome. So we'll put those pictures up so you can see them. But really, that was my... I'm just very uber excited for Tuesday. So the podcast comes out on Tuesday, and then Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, and then I'll be drooling. And I'll watch it on a loop.
So you're actually listening to this, and it's already out.
Yes.
So
That's the magic of this.
Isn't it awesome?
we're like sorcerers, kind of.
It's the future.
All right, so I'm done.
Magic, evil motherfucker.
My big thing, I didn't really have a whole lot of big thing this week. I think most of my week's been involved with watching curling. I am obsessed. I effing love curling. I go sit and watch it. I record it when it's on at night because it's on at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I record that shit and then watch it the next day.
Who won? I need to know. Who did Russia win?
Curling?
Women's. I'm talking women's. I don't watch men's curling. I
No,
watch women's
the
curling.
men's is good. It's a different game because they really are putting power into it. The women are more about finesse and trying to get them in spots.
I just like
and-
Great Britain, like a lot.
Right. And
Right.
also the Russian women's team and also the Swedish women's team.
Mm-hmm.
Curling. That's all I got to say about that. But today I was reading and I saw an article about the new Superman DC event that's coming in May, which is called Superman Doomed. And that kind of had me intrigued. So that's my other big thing. I love Doomsday. I love the whole Death of Superman thing. The whole Superman thing afterwards didn't do it for me, but I love the Doomsday character and the way that was. So I'm intrigued to see how they're going to bring him back in the New 52. I know they say he's going to have new powers. We don't necessarily know what those are. And it looks like we're going to have Superman surviving the fight with him, only to die later on.
I don't think they're
Possibly.
gonna, right.
We don't know. But it looks like he's transforming into a
They're
Doomsday
going to pull a Death of the Family.
type monster. Maybe.
I don't see them
Where
killing him.
nothing will happen whatsoever. There'll be all this build up and hype and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Well, I mean, they're just going to try to insert that character into the New 52 the way they've inserted a lot, which is just... I got nothing but praise for the New 52, and I've got nothing but praise for DC, so I think it'll be pretty sweet. Because, Superman's he's not the same guy, that he's always been.
No,
he's
more
kind of
updated.
emo, and
He's emo-y. Yeah.
he's floating, looking through windows, crying.
No. That's Superman Returns.
I just want to be a normal man.
Why doesn't Lois love me?
Why does she have two different eye colors?
Aaron?
I have actually two. One of them I just found out today that Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder?
Yeah,
Winona Ryder?
couldn't get it out, tongue twister. Have said that they would do Beetlejuice 2 if Tim Burton agrees to it.
I thought that was already a done deal.
And
He's already agreed to it.
He's pretty much said that if those two came back, he would do it. So now we're just waiting on.
I thought the script
Let's
was
do
already in and they were ready to go.
That was,
we gotta look
that was
on
how it all started, right?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty much set in stone.
And it was in the
Under the
new
assumption
Rolling
also, too.
Stone for this month that it's pretty much gonna happen.
Nice.
The one that Drake cried about because he wasn't on the cover.
Yeah.
Winona
come
Ryder, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay.
Fucking yay.
Yay.
And then you've got, like, from back in the day when we were kids, Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands. She
looked good in Star Trek,
she's-
too.
You know how many times I've
As
slow-mode Dracula?
many times as I
Frame
have.
by frame by frame.
But you know what's weird? She
There it
looks
is.
even hotter as she looks older.
I know, it's like, it's a mountain I'll never conquer.
I know,
Right.
it's sad.
You never know. Someday.
She had a pretty good...
One day.
No, I was in love with Winona
20 years
Ryder.
from now, she'll be at a con because she'll need to eat.
She'll be like Margot Kidder.
Don't
like-
say that.
Winona Ryder got to eat, and she'll be like,
Yeah, no,
Christian. And you'll be like, how you doing?
Pall Malls? I like non-filtered.
And then you'll ruin all your childhood memories.
Here, give me your penis. No disrespect to Winona Ryder
Or Margot Kidder.
or Margaret Kidder. I wasn't even talking Margaret Kidder. I was talking about Carrie Fisher.
We missed.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Margaret Kidder did an appearance here at Pack Rat last summer, and we missed it. We didn't get to go.
I remember that, yeah.
I would have liked to dress up as Superman. And you know how where Pack Rat, the building we're talking about here, it's kind of a squarish building. I would just get a bungee cord and literally dress as Superman and just swoop in the front door, collide through their shelves, make a giant mess, and be like,
And just standing there like your fists on your hips.
I mean, quick, Jason, come in here with the fans. So, fan my cape. Pulls that, Brannigan. Wave it around a little. Here
I
I'm
would
here,
do that
Miss
too.
Kidder. Sorry I'm late. Just flew in from Albuquerque. All right, you're up, Jay.
Well, you have something else? You have
Oh,
two
yeah.
things?
It's not really comic book or movie related, but since I'm a nerd about this kind of stuff, February 26th at the Air Force Museum, they're opening a space shuttle walkthrough exhibit.
Which I actually think this is cool too, because initially they'd said, because when they gave out all the space shuttles,
It's going to be pretty
they
sweet.
didn't get one, and that's like the national. What's the
The
official
National Air and Space Museum.
So let's
Right.
let's clarify really quick. If you're in Ohio, if you're in Columbus, Dayton, because it's in Dayton,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's in Dayton, Ohio. It's the U.S. Air Force Museum.
Yeah.
Because they got snubbed initially. It was a big deal because they weren't going to get one of the shuttles.
Yeah, and they were pretty.
But apparently
pretty
now
keen.
they've procured one. So I actually,
So you can walk through a shuttle that's actually out in space.
yeah, I totally am going to have to
fucking
go
go
do
there,
that.
man.
I'm excited.
Okay, I'm gonna bogart this thing for a second here, because I have a number of things I want to talk about, and I'm gonna kind of flip Mate's pages back and forth. I'm gonna start off with a couple things that are stupid.
You're at the right place.
Yes. Anybody who knows me knows that I have I can vent and rant very easily about things that I don't like.
What?
Pessimist of Sector 2814. So Cyclops, our friend Cyclops from the X-Men, is getting his own solo series.
I saw this.
And did you hear about this, Brian?
I saw it, but I didn't read it because I
Okay.
don't care.
Young.
As I said,
I don't like Cyclops.
Well, Cyclops is okay, but here you're gonna hate him even more now. Check this out. Young Scott Summers will be adventuring in space with his dad, Corsair, leader of the Starjammers.
So is this the one that came forward from the 60s?
I don't know.
I'm confused because, okay, this is where I want to kick Marvel in the face.
Yes.
One of the places
One.
you want to kick
Well,
Marvel
yeah.
in the face. I liked it that he was kind of the villain.
Yeah. So is this?
So all of a sudden, they're going back in time and telling about when he adventured as a child with his dad out in space.
Why?
Why?
Exactly.
Where's his brother?
Exactly. Where's Havoc?
Why
at?
wouldn't it?
Havoc?
If you were going to say this is modern time and it's the one that came forward from the past and he's going to go off in space,
No.
that makes more sense though.
The picture that I saw, I believe, it showed a picture of a young adolescent Scott Summers, like a young kid.
They're going to retcon the shit out of this.
Hey, you know what I want to do? I want to propose a comic at Marvel that
How to get your hand
Adam
on your
Warlock
ass.
and Firelord accidentally make a sun go nova, and the entire Marvel universe is destroyed.
It's gone.
Just like that.
Gone.
Awesome. I'd buy that.
Galactus took a shit, and then the Marvel universe was reborn. And I'd also like to put at that point I would include Gwar into the Marvel universe.
Yes. Well, I think you should. I think that makes sense.
I think Gwar would make great sense. Actually, that'd be a huge year-long crossover.
Way to reboot your
They could
continuity.
be with the Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of like.
And they would be the destroyers of the galaxy.
They would be like Lobo of the Marvel
Oh my
universe.
god,
That would be perfect.
patent that shit. It's not even our property, but we'll patent it.
down.
Yeah.
Odorous
Copyright
come out
that
with a
shit.
giant-
Somebody
right
call
now.
Odorous, and we'll get this happening
Have
right
him
now.
pictured on with a giant cock.
Make
Yes.
Squeezing it.
Make it so.
Gamora's like, I've never had that. I've had lots of men.
Okay, so another thing that you guys probably have read, which is not a bad thing, but it's kind of annoying.
When you say but.
But, okay, so we all know about the new Star Wars series coming out, Rebels. Okay?
Uh-oh.
Freddie Prinze Jr., do you know what I'm talking about here?
Yeah, I know what
Okay.
you're talking about.
He is a cowboy Jedi, Kanan, however you say his name. And here's a quote that Freddie Prinze Jr. said here. And I'm going to read this one part, but pretty awesome when you can see what a Jedi can do. What a Jedi can actually do. Motherfucker, we've already seen what a Jedi can do.
In like 6 movies.
Have you not watched Star Wars? I mean, I'm getting legitimately pissed. That's like one of the most, like, what?
Like, I just saw him down the other day down the street, and that Jedi was not doing anything like this.
No,
guy.
yeah.
Oh, what? Celebrities are so fucking stupid.
So that
They
is,
kind of are.
you know, that's,
But
not all of
aside
them.
from that, I do want to see that series. I want to see what they do.
you know, I saw the main villain they brought up for that, and the guy had the double-bladed lightsaber, and I'm like, I'm done with fucking double-bladed lightsaber. It's cliched.
Never.
It's
Been done
it's
once,
overdone. You had it one time, and we only needed it one time.
But that's like saying that we were done with single-bladed ones. We've been seeing them since the 70s.
No, that's sweet. What is that?
Aaron just put up the Legos of the Guardians of the
We
Galaxy.
will put those up, too.
like
Actually,
that.
I'm going to start...
Which gives us a little look at Ronan. Which,
Yeah.
it looks like they're actually getting him right, so...
Sweet. Well,
Two
it's
thumbs up.
Marvel. Yeah.
Nice.
A little bit of faith. Yeah.
Mm.
Nice. Wow.
Very nice.
He's got a hammer.
Very nice.
Okay, go ahead. So,
Okay, so another thing was Arrow season 3 has been confirmed.
Yeah,
Has it? Oh,
yeah,
I missed it.
They posted up on Facebook.
They were like...
saw that
Yeah, had all
yesterday.
they were all going like this, or like this,
Or something.
They were doing little.
They were
threesomes,
holding
but-
up fingers.
Yeah, they were throwing up gang signs. So I'm very happy about that. That's all I want to say about it.
All signs are gang signs.
Let's see.
That shit's fucking great.
I have a couple of small things. I want to go back to something I talked about last week,
Okay.
and you, Chris, kind of called it and said what was going to happen, and you were correct. I really liked the character development for Carl on The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I did too.
The one last week, man, it was just like the comics.
Yeah, it's perfect.
You kind of got insight as to why he was such a prick and why he doesn't listen. And he, like I said last week, Carl likes to act hard, but he's not hard.
Right.
That was my exact quote. And we saw he is not hard. He is just acting hard. And when he showed that vulnerability, it added a lot to the character.
Yeah, I guess I would kind of recant my big thing because that would be my other. If I had one, that would be it. Because that episode, it was called After. Hands down, one of the best episodes in the season so far.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
It was very close to the comic. You got to learn what made Michonne kind of tick. And, I have actually quite a giant spoiler that I will not spoil right now.
You can't tease us like that. What's it about?
We were wrong on one thing.
Spoiler. Spoiler.
The episode's going to air by the time this listens, so it's not any big deal.
Yeah, right.
Sunday.
Judith is alive.
I suspected that.
yeah.
I saw that someone wrote an article saying that she's still alive.
Tyrese has got her.
I think it's terrible.
That's pretty terrible.
I think it's terrible.
It is.
I think she should not
Drop
be
kick her
alive.
and off a bridge
Oh.
and be done with it.
These are zombie bait.
Well,
That means your death won't be in vain, so let's do it.
Yeah.
I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Really? Damn.
That was a
okay.
perfect opportunity to just be gone with her. In the comics, if you haven't read them, at this point, she is no longer alive in the
No.
comics.
No.
Poor little Judith dies.
Horribly.
We won't tell you how, but she's not around anymore. So
She didn't feel a thing.
Yeah,
don't ruin it
She
for me,
didn't,
I'm
she
seeing
didn't
it.
know it was coming. So this would be a perfect time to just get that back in line with the comics. Get that baby out of there. How are you going to walk around in the wilderness, the zombie-infested countryside?
Well, apparently
carrying
Tyrese
this
is doing
squalling
it.
baby.
Because Tyrese has got really fast hammer hands.
He does. True story.
Okay, so two more things. One thing is pretty short. We heard that John Wesley Shipp is joining the Flash.
Ooh, yeah, see, I was going to bring this up, but I knew that Aaron and Jason were both on top
There's
of
a
it,
couple
so,
of things that have been discussed about it. Some of people are saying maybe he's a Reverse Flash.
Would be awesome.
Some people are saying maybe he'll be Jay Garrick, the original Flash.
That's fine too.
That would be great.
However, another thing that I've been reading about, and I kind of agree with, that is probably more likely, is that he will be Barry's dad, who was framed for the murder of his mom.
That's fine too.
It's not a starring role; it's a recurring role, so the character probably won't be in every episode.
And they said he could be recurring on a regular basis. So.
Yeah, so maybe he'll be Barry's dad, and he'll be the innocent guy.
I'm down with all of these options. Put Wesley Shipp in everything.
Take my money.
Right.
That's really cool, actually. When I saw that, and I thought that was great. So right on, man.
The last thing is, we all have had our issues with the announcement of the Gotham TV show.
I still have issues with it. I saw some of the casting this week.
I did. Here's a lot of stuff about the casting. If anybody who doesn't know about the Gotham show, it's being produced by Bruno Heller, who wrote the pilot. He did The Mentalist and Rome. I think he's two most famous for, I think, right now. A little bit of things I didn't know was the guy that was cast as James Gordon is a guy named Ben McKenzie.
I like him.
He was in the OC Southland, and he also did the voice for Batman and Bruce Wayne in Batman Year One.
Oh, right on.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
That was actually pretty good.
It was good. There were some things at the end that pissed me off, but
Yeah.
that's here and there. But they cast Oswald Cobblepot the Penguin.
Gay.
The guy looks pretty cool, and he's written as a low-level psychopath, an underling for a gangster named Fish Mooney.
Fish Mooney.
Fish Mooney. He was also in The Walking Dead. He played. Remember when they went and Carol and Rick went into the house? They found the guy and the girl.
Oh yeah,
he was the guy. He was that guy.
That's who playing the Penguin?
Yeah,
that's stupid.
Oh,
he doesn't look like that. That dude was
pretty young.
Yeah, he's. I don't know how old he is.
If I remember in the right guy, he was fairly young.
Yeah, he looks like he's about 19, 20.
He doesn't look like that. They showed another picture of him. He was definitely
If he's going to be around when Bruce is fighting
young,
crime, he's going to have to be really young.
They better start feeding him some Twinkies.
Yeah.
Or fish.
Fish.
The guy that they cast as Alfred, Sean Pertwee. I don't know how to say his name. Pertwee. He was in Event Horizon, Soldier Equilibrium. He did one of the voices in Ultramarines, and he was in Camelot. It says that he's a former Marine, but it doesn't specify if he was a Royal Marine, as in like a British Royal Marine.
Oh, right on.
He has loyally served the Wayne family in the wake of the deaths. He takes care of Bruce. That kind of ties into Batman Earth 1 a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I did just recently read Earth 1, so...
And they cast
Jeff Johns
Bullock.
rules.
Did you see that?
They cast Bullock as Donald Logue.
Who I like him.
Yeah, very good.
Bullock?
Bullock.
As much as I like him, I still am not going to watch this show.
I gotta tell you,
Well,
Commissioner.
and the thing is, the more I think about it, we all kind of shit on it for having Bruce Wayne in it, but at the same time, I think it kind of makes sense. In a certain way, it makes sense. In a certain way, it does. It's unneeded because we kind of know.
I think it's undermining the other DC properties.
Exactly.
Yeah, it kind of is. But if they stick to their guns and do it how they say they're going to do it, then I'm going to give it a chance regardless. It's
Well,
Batman.
my biggest question here is because the guys who do Arrow obviously are working under like the DC umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
So the guys who are doing Flash, producers and writers are still working under the same Arrow umbrella.
Yes.
Right.
So is Gotham working under this umbrella?
From what I read, the quotes that I read says it's, and this only applies to the movies, it's separate from any cinematic universe, which doesn't mention the TV shows. But I can't imagine it being... I can't imagine it being part of that.
There's been rumors about them connecting Arrow and Flash to the DC cinematic universe.
Right.
Which is smart because it's
It
kind of
is.
like you got Marvel and S.H.I.E.L.D. and that.
Yeah, I mean, you might as
But
well.
why would you... Why would you shoot yourself in the foot like Marvel's done by piecing out your properties to different companies where they don't connect? They're not related. It seems like a terrible idea.
There's certain things I like about the idea of them touching on Bruce Wayne and his growth development or whatever, and becoming Batman. There's certain,
he's going to be so young, you're not going to see any of that.
Certain things I don't like. There's things I do and I don't. It kind of depends.
I mean, he's not even in Gotham at that point.
Right.
I mean, he's not. He's abroad. If this is, how old is he? 10?
That's the thing. How old is he?
Right.
If he's 10,
well, the guy that plays James Gordon, the actor himself, is 35.
Right. He's young.
So we don't know how they're going to make.
Even if Bruce left, what? How old was he?
Well, he went to
16,
college.
17?
Yeah.
He left. And he didn't come back until he was in his mid-20s.
Mm-hmm.
So, fuck him. This is going to be stupid. I have a feeling. I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, I mean, the more I read about it, the more, fuck, it's Batman, so I can't help and not be excited. But at the same time, I'm going, they're going to fuck this up. They're going to fuck this up.
Never tell me the odds.
I can't do it. Some things you can't unsee. Like, I've not watched Human Centipede for a reason. You can't unsee that shit. And I don't
I'll tell you
want
what,
to
you can't unsee the second one either.
Right. And I don't want to see this show. I don't want to see it. It's not going to be what we want or need.
Actually, hold on. It just brings me to just a little pointer to everybody out there in podcasting.
I'm disrobing.
Listening land. If you have a friend that doesn't like to bathe, I have a tip. Make them watch the Human Centipede Part 2. They'll want to get a wire brush and scrub themselves until they bleed because it does not come off. Okay.
Right. I will watch this. Thank you.
You've not seen either one of them?
No, I
haven't. See, I figured you were first in line.
I know it looks like my thing.
That's
but
kind of your bag. Yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah, I love
bad,
nasty shit.
It's bad.
It's
bad.
One of the things that really turned all of us off was the idea that they were going to have Batman's villains in the show. We're like, what the fuck? You can't have the Riddler without Batman.
No, I'm still like that.
But the way I read about Oswald Cobblepot made sense to me. These people had lives before they were costumed villains. They were still bad people, probably. But so if they're touching on Oswald Cobblepot before he was a quote unquote costume villain, which he wasn't really costumed, but he had to have an origin somewhere. Why does he have to be a rogues gallery villain right now?
All I know about him is from Batman Returns. Was he not from a rich family then?
Oh, yeah, well, it depends on which...
it's been rebooted a few times.
Yeah, it depends on which universe you're talking about. In the New 52, he's kind of a crime boss.
Yeah.
Right.
In Silver Age DC, he was just a guy with an umbrella.
Yeah.
I mean, he really didn't have that much of an origin.
I thought that he was from a rich family, but he was still a crime boss, and he was kind of always privileged.
He comes from that aristocracy, that kind of Gotham, well-to-do. And that is kind of part, but I think that's just been since the movie since the Penguin was always kind of a villain that I always saw Burgess Meredith going. Wah, wah, wah. So I mean, they picked a good villain to do it. I just think it sounds too all over the place, and if you're doing Gotham and you're not taking Arrow and the Flash into consideration. You're kind of spinning your wheels, man.
Yeah,
and Warner Brothers is a big enough company, and I hope there's a kind of an old adage where you couldn't get movie people to work with TV people because TV people are TV people and movie people are movie people, and that kind of genre's breaking down is where you see Marvel's got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then they've got the Marvel Studios has got a whole thing all in itself, and then WB could do the exact same thing.
And you've got Lawrence Fishburne doing CSI, and you've got Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey doing an HBO show.
Yeah.
There's no reason you can't do it the right way now.
The barriers are coming down slowly. I think a lot of things are jumping the gun, where if they would just wait a little longer, take more time, get input.
And I think Gotham's one of those things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously nowhere near as faithful... have as much faith in Gotham as I do Arrow, or even the Flash. The Flash isn't even out yet. I have more faith in it than Gotham. Batman's my favorite character. But you can tell the different. You can tell two different groups are working on those different shows.
Mm-hmm.
It shows just from what we've read.
But they're all under the same umbrella,
which is unfortunate. They need somebody like Kevin Feige who can spearhead something and have continuity amongst different properties.
See, that's the thing. That's exactly why you probably will never see. Was it Steve Amell? Was it
Stephen Amell? Yeah, Stephen Amell.
And then who's the guy that plays the Flash?
I don't remember.
That
I know it's
wiry kid.
I know
Well, that's probably why you'll never see those actors in the actual cinematic universe, because those people are TV people.
Won't you though?
I think it would be smart.
It would be smart. That's probably why we won't get it.
But see, you've got Kevin Feige over at Marvel, and then we've got David Goyer, or DC has David Goyer, and Goyer's pretty badass.
He is.
And then you've got Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've got a whole other thing going on over here that
Grant Gustin.
Yeah. And I think another part of the problem is Marvel is a big company, DC is a big company, but Warner Brothers, in regards to say like Disney for example, is so much more expansive than Disney as far as what they do.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many more things they have to focus on that they probably are just like, regardless of what we do, it's going to generate money anyway.
Well, then
so who
you
cares?
should be smart and set up a whole division.
They should.
Like there's the Marvel Studios.
Right.
Make a DC Studios. You own all your own properties.
Instead
you don't
of doing
have the
that,
same hurdles.
Instead of doing that, they're jumping the gun and trying to make a Justice League movie without a Justice League.
Dun dun dun.
I guess we've kind of ranted a lot about that.
No, but I mean, we're gonna rant about it until it's here.
Until they fix it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to derail tonight's itinerary, but...
Well, speaking of fixing things.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so today we're going to cover a very well-known fable. Stop me if you've heard this one, okay? In 1977, the great bearded one, George Lucas, born onto us one of the greatest sci-fi adventures anyone at that time had ever seen. Star Wars reinvented the popcorn movie, giving audiences of all ages an on-screen adventure that would permeate the public consciousness and would change the film industry forever. For us who grew up with
the originals.
Yeah, the original. Not only that, but we had Obi-Wan Kenobi action figures, and we had Darth Vader bed sheets,
Right.
And Princess Leia was my first crush.
Right.
So I mean, that's a whole big thing. We got 3 movies, the first trilogy, which, is an industry standard now, because you get 3 movies with everything. It's like pizza. Right?
I wish that formula would die.
Yeah,
there's no reason for
it's
that.
even gone into the realm of novels, too, and you get lots of bloat in your story.
And, and the thing is I can remember being a really little kid and looking at my dad and having the credits roll on Jedi. That was the first time I ever had a caramel bar, right?
Nice.
And I said, man, I can't wait till the next one. And Dad looked at me down, and my dad was like, there ain't going to be another one. That's it.
And you're like, oh, wait.
Okay, so, yeah, and I'm like,
easy,
no!
buddy.
So fast forward 15 years later, and I'm standing in line at the Lennox 24 here in Columbus, Ohio, with Brian, who rescued me from being all by myself.
Were you there too, Aaron?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He talked more back then.
Yeah, he did. Waiting to buy tickets for Star Wars Episode 1. It was less than perfect, but it was Star Wars, and we took it. And it was good at times, and other times downright awful.
We took it.
We took it like a bitch. Something.
No.
So today here in the House of Gozer, we're talking about the prequels, and I know I have tons of stories. Brian has tons of stories surrounding Star Wars because that's how we met, and we will get to some of those. But let's go back right now to before Episode 1, and let's talk about the fever and hype that was surrounding that movie.
When they first announced
it. They first announced it.
They re-released the original trilogy, the special edition trilogy, in theaters first.
Yeah.
And that brought us all back into it. I went and saw all of them. Yeah. I was fucking
And they put
hyped.
out the figures before that, remember?
Yeah.
Because that was like...
Power of the Force, baby.
Yeah, it was. And those were
You had all the ones with the big chest.
Yeah,
Yes.
Luke was fucking buff, man.
He looked like Gary
He was
Busey.
Yeah, because you had those, and that was, 96?
You and I were working at Toys R Us.
We were working at Toys R Us.
95.
Yeah. Hey, you know where the worst place for a toy collector or a guy who's really into action figures is to work?
Toys R Us.
Just pay me in toys.
Yeah, they pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much
they could have.
worked.
We wouldn't give a shit.
Oh man, those were the days.
I'd have been sending boxes of stormtroopers to pay rent, you know.
But I remember going to like Meijer after I got off work from Wendy's like late at night, and they would be stocking because it was third shift, and we would go through their cases and get like the good figures, like Boba Fett and Princess Leia because she was short packed,
and she looked like Han Solo.
And she looked like Gary Busey.
She looked like Gary Busey.
Yeah, she did look like Han Solo's head, didn't she?
And they had, like, as far as, like, they really did a good job, I think, of kind of hyping it up, getting everybody ready. And there's like, oh, guess what? We're getting a whole new movie, whole new trilogy.
And we went insane.
We went insane.
We were rioting. No, we weren't really rioting, but... No.
How many times did you see episode 1?
Oh, God. I couldn't put a number on it. How many times did you and I see it in the theater? At least 7.
3. No,
we saw more than that.
Did we?
Do you remember we went to
That's why
Easton.
George Lucas is rich.
They just opened the Easton Mall in the movie theater there, and we went there to go see something else, completely something else.
That's when they had the Planet Hollywood, right?
Yeah. And
Okay,
we saw...
Easton is like a huge shopping center here.
And we saw that they were still playing episode 1, so we were like, fuck it, let's go see episode 1.
Oh, we were going to see Pathfinder.
I think we were, and we were like, let's go see episode 1 again. This is like our 6th or 7th time.
I thought it was awesome.
And we were like, okay, let's do it. And we
like, you
sat
really want to
through
go see
that
that
shit
movie?
again.
Yeah. So I know I took my dad to see it. I took my mom to see it. I took Brian at least 4 times, 5 times. I know that we had all been, like, and we just soaked it all up. And it was Star Wars. That's kind of what my whole idea here is, that it's Star Wars. And we're blinded.
Yes.
Just utterly blinded.
And I think...
We're like loyal puppies.
I think at that time, too, we still had hope for what was going to come.
Well, you all knew what was coming.
Well, we knew what was coming, but we hoped that things were going to be different when we got them. So we still have episode 1, which now when you look at it, it's kind of a turd. But but we didn't know at the time because we thought it was going to be part of a bigger thing that was more awesomer. Instead, it was just part of more turd.
I think there's a certain sheen or shine or kind of an idea that this is the beginning. And I defended that movie. Yeah. I still kind of think it's got the worst script ever. It's just bad.
There's character ever.
There's
Jar Jar
some
Binks.
You know, I'm not a hater on Jar Jar Binks. I'm not love the character by any means, but I don't hate him like everybody does. You know, if they didn't have Jar Jar, I wouldn't be complaining. But I also am not going to complain that he's in there.
They could have written him a little better, made him not as obnoxious.
Yeah. Well, he was a kid's character. He was there for kids.
But that's the thing.
Was
You're underestimating kids by doing that.
Right.
Yeah,
we didn't have kids characters in the original trilogy, and we loved them. They had 3PO and R2 for some comic relief to break things up a little bit because it was very serious, especially in Empire.
Right.
But we didn't get a kids character. There was no Muppet-looking,
and we didn't need it either.
Jumping around, making noise bullshit. It was Star Wars.
For fuck's sake, the Ewoks didn't even blink.
No, but the Ewoks killed.
A lot of people still hate the Ewoks.
I don't hate Ewoks.
I'm not hating on Ewoks.
I'm not hating on them either, but there's
Chief
a lot of
Chirpa
people
was
that
awesome.
Not to mention, I would love to have an Ewok just mow my grass.
That'd be badass.
People come by.
Just I want to have him run.
Chief Chirpa's out there mowing my grass.
With one of those old-fashioned mowers.
He'll wave his cart. Yep.
Yep. So, I mean,
it's flawed, but if it's on TV, we're going to fucking watch it again.
Puppet Yoda.
You know we're going to watch it.
Oh,
that Yoda
There
was
were so many
horrible.
good things about episode 1.
There were.
Potential things that we thought were going to be the bomb, like Darth Maul, which to me is the biggest waste of a character in any movie, in all of movie history. But then there's so much in there that's, like you said, there's Puppet Yoda, and there's Anakin running around doing his, it's working! And,
are you an angel?
Oh, God, that
I hear the
fucking
space
line.
traders talk about them all the time.
They're from the moons of Viego, I think.
Maybe. They come out at night.
Mostly.
What are midi-chlorians?
What are midi-chlorians?
And the fact that they have midi-chlorians in the first place is just a kick in the nuts.
And why is Qui-Gon such a horrible Jedi Master?
I like Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon should...
Qui-Gon's a dick. That's why I like Qui-Gon.
I like Qui-Gon, and you can see how they were using him to plant the seeds for Anakin of his being rebellious against the Jedi Order.
In Obi-Wan sort of
But-
did the same thing.
right.
Not to the extent Anakin did, though.
Right.
Okay, so if we're talking about good, okay, let's just episode 1, episode 2, episode 3.
Okay.
All problematic, right?
Right.
But all have their good parts. So separating the good and bad, what was good about this? Okay, do you call them the first 3 movies, or are they?
I call them the prequels.
Okay, let's
Prequel
call them the
trilogy,
prequels.
Yeah.
So what was good about them?
Darth Maul was badass.
Christopher Lee,
Christopher Lee is badass.
Yeah. We have
who
Samuel
apparently
L.
can act
Jackson.
against a green screen.
The space battles were fantastic.
There were not enough of them.
There were not
nowhere near enough.
Battle
Lightsaber
of
battle.
Yes and no, yeah.
I liked Camino. I thought that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think that was pretty cool too. I liked, even though like episode 2, I liked that whole Obi-Wan like all by himself
Yeah.
doing his own
Yes,
thing.
He has a
No.
little detective thing going on, a little Sherlock Holmes thing.
We'll get
going on.
into some of that stuff later, where some of my disagreements with that, but
I like how some of the I don't want to say scenery, but like the equipment, the weapons, costumes had an old look, like Padme's guns in episode 2.
yeah, they look different.
They were old school, like ray gun looking, and a lot of the stuff looked pretty neat.
So the art direction was pretty good because
Yeah.
those guys really had to think about.
They really regressed from what was. You could see where this ship would become this one after
Right.
newer models were
Especially
made.
with like the Jedi Starfighter,
Become the
And you-
destroyers,
and
yeah.
then you see like the next one where it looks more like a TIE. In episode 3, it looks more like
TIE Fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
The other thing too is there's a definite difference between, in contrast to the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, because everything in the prequel trilogy looks pretty new.
Yeah,
Everything's kind of
shiny.
shiny. And in the other one, it's really kind of dirty. And I think that's kind of a cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
They have some good characters, too, because I like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I
did too. I
love
thought he
Ewan
was
McGregor as
great.
Obi-Wan.
That was the highlight for me.
Really.
Padme and Anakin get hit by a bus. And make that entire trilogy just about Obi-Wan until the point where Anakin starts acting like a brat. The thing is, it's supposed to be Anakin's story. And yet, it's not. But we're talking about the good stuff. So what else is good about the trilogy? Are we straight in that hard?
Ian
Chancellor
McDermott
Palpatine.
was great.
Yeah, I was
Yes,
about to say
Ian
the same
McDermott.
thing. We're on the same page. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I was so glad they got him to do it again.
Yeah, me too. He was
And
still
at the
saying
end,
he would do it again.
When he finally reveals himself as the Emperor, and you're like, that's badass. These movies are terrible, but that's badass.
Unlimited
Mace Windu. Mace Windu should be in everything. They
Right.
shouldn't have killed him. He should be around still.
So let's talk about the bad parts, since that's kind of the easiest part about all
There's
this.
a lot more bad than there is.
I know, and that's
Okay.
sad.
Yeah. It is.
And is it just because we're older?
Or
or
maybe because like my kids and the stepkids and all the kids that I know that are younger than us love these movies because that's their Star Wars that they grew up with.
Yeah.
Which is kind of almost infuriating because the good stuff's sitting right next to it on the shelf and they want to watch episode 1 again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, just shoot me in the head. For every good scene, there's 10 that are terrible.
Well,
Every movie's going to have plot holes. There's no avoiding that. But this movie was
And plot holes,
plot black holes. Okay.
if you're looking for them, of course you're going to find them.
Yeah.
Most movies, as long as you stick to the logic and the rules that you make, we're all going to follow along with that, and we're going to be okay with that. But this,
when you stop following your own rules, there
that's
becomes
when
a problem.
there's a problem.
Yeah.
see here. Okay, look. This is what I'm going to say right now. The reasons ultimately the prequels didn't work.
Okay.
Okay.
Hit us here.
Poor storytelling.
Yes.
Okay. The scripts are ham-handed and poorly written.
Really.
We already knew the outcome going in, right?
Which is fine.
But we already knew what this is going to be. Anakin turn into Darth Vader. Now everyone's waiting on episode 3 to see this thing happen. In the meantime, we get this really kind of and examples even in episode 1 when he's telling Obi-Wan Kenobi, even the speech. It's like the way, I don't know why Harrison Ford made it work. Because, it's the same guy who wrote, I guess the script's just not strong enough. Are you an angel? The whole slave thing, the whole, what was that? Oh, God, help me out.
like you did on Naboo.
Oh, God.
Where there was nothing but our love.
It's clear that George Lucas doesn't understand romance.
Yeah.
He did put her in that hot leather outfit though in episode 2.
See, I think he's
where she was teasing.
Oh yeah,
again.
he's a pretty old man.
Will you keep it a
She's
secret?
like, we're not going to do anything, but I'm going to wear this. So deal with it.
Yeah. I'm going to get cut by a 500-foot tall monster and have just a tiny little bit of a red bit of blood on my belly.
And then my entire midriff.
And not get cut in half.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we all wanted to know. The thing is, we knew it was going to happen. We just didn't know how it was going to happen. And you wanted to see the Clone Wars. You wanted to see all this stuff that Obi-Wan had talked about.
You wanted to see more than anything was him being Darth Vader,
Yeah.
being badass, and putting it to some Jedi. And
you got it in the
you
last
got none of that.
45 minutes of Episode 3 where Anakin does nothing. In Episode 2 and 3, all he does is whine and fucking cry.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose
Really?
Padme.
You know where Luke gets it from?
Yeah, you know where Luke gets it from. What's that flashing?
I think this is something that we from.
But I was going into Tashi Station to pick up some
I was
converters.
waiting for that. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things about it, which we touched on last week, or maybe the week before, I don't remember which, was that they sympathized our villain.
Which
if
you
Vader
don't need
Vader in the original trilogy was fucking hardcore. He was evil. He was a villain.
Well, he was fucking scary.
Exactly. In this one, Lucas wants us to feel sorry for him.
They make him whiny. He kills an entire tribe of sand people, and then he cries about it. And then his girlfriend holds him and comforts him, even though he's a mass murderer.
I would sport that shit like I killed all them motherfuckers. Yeah,
right. And
yeah.
I am proud of that shit. And then I'll go find some more here in a minute. I'm wearing their head as a mask.
I would be like
my little kooky dance.
Be like Danny Glover in Predator 2. He drops that thing. All right, who's next?
Right.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And in the third one, you don't even really see him killing the younglings.
No,
he's on a video camera. You can't show that.
It was PG-13, so
right. You're not going to get away with that.
That was Ewan McGregor's one flaw.
Like,
what?
I saw him murdering younglings, and I just fucking started laughing. I'm in the theater laughing.
That's because he was trying not to laugh.
Probably.
Right, that's why.
Killing
and
younglings.
he's trying to convey that he's known Anakin almost his whole life.
I am so
and they're close, and he's hurt. It doesn't come across right.
It doesn't. It's so poorly directed and so poorly written. And as a director, you've got to have more motivation than say, okay, just faster and more intense, please.
I will say that I
imagine the green screen behind you.
And
the universe.
And that is another thing about those movies. It's all green screen.
It is.
The actors don't have anything to work with.
Well, they were noted for saying that too.
Right, and if you look at the old school, they made the props, they made the sets,
they built.
They were beautiful, man.
They could work with that shit. You put something in front of a green screen, I don't care how good you are, you're going to get crap.
I'm telling you right now, if anyone's seen The Professional, that was Natalie Portman's first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's 10 years old.
And some of the other stuff she's done, like look at Black Swan.
Black Swan. But you put her in, you let George Lucas direct her, and her lines, I wish you would hold me like you did in Naboo. What's wrong, Anakin? What's wrong, Anakin?
And sometimes she's just like overly bitchy for no reason.
It's like George Lucas should have directed the Stepford Wives. He'd have been perfect for that. I mean, you can't get these guys. I don't think Hayden is a bad actor.
No. That scene in the throne room where they're back on Naboo in episode 2, and she's like busting him out in front of the new queen.
Yeah.
And he's trying to say, I'm the security guy. We're going to do this. And she's like, excuse me.
Yeah.
That whole scene is just like nails on a chalkboard for me. Like they turn her into a bitch, and they make him a whiny bitch as well.
Yeah.
It's just like, what are you doing?
Like
to
she
these
like
characters?
Padme's just putting the strap on to her.
Right. It's exactly.
You know, one thing I
like that.
did like though in episode 3 was, and maybe I'm in the minority with this, but
when she died.
Yeah, that too. I did love that.
Of our broken hearts.
Yeah.
You killed younglings.
She just lost the will to live.
That's so fucking stupid.
It was very dumb.
I would have died a long time ago if that's a real thing.
Heart. No, I really did like the speech, or the conversation, I shouldn't say speech, conversation between Obi-Wan and Anakin after they fought, and after he cut his legs off. I got the high ground. He was talking about how you were like my brother and this and that. I thought that was really good.
Oh, that's fun.
It's pretty for deep. All the other moments they missed, at least they nailed that one.
Yeah.
Don't do it, Anakin. I have the high ground.
Do ya?
And I'm like, come on.
You've underestimated my new powers.
I hate you.
If you're not with me, you're
against me.
You'll try.
It's like, when did Hayden Christensen channel Jim Carrey? Because can you imagine if Jim Carrey, Fire Marshal Bill as Anakin Skywalker in...
Let me tell you something!
You don't know about strength of my power! You know, I mean, that's kind of what I see it. Yeah. And that final duel, supposedly, like, Spielberg had his hands in it.
You can tell which scenes he allegedly helped. Like the scenes with Obi-Wan and Grievous.
Those are good. That's a good part of episode. That's a good part of the trilogy.
Exactly, but you've got cinematography that's completely different. You've got close-ups. You've got better line delivery. You can tell where Spielberg was helping.
Yeah. Like, George, your money back. Just produced from this point on.
Well, that's why when I was nervous, they started talking about new movies.
One thing that was pretty cheesy, but I still liked it anyway, was Order 66.
I liked Order 66.
It made sense. It made sense.
And what does he say? He goes,
Execute
Order 66. We're just like those really bad...
things up.
Everyone's got their own worst Emperor impersonation, but... yeah, I mean, that's a great part. And I like Commander Cody, and I
do too.
I like that whole... Anything Obi-Wan did in those prequels, I'm game.
Yeah.
That's because I really believed it, because Ewan's a good actor. And Ewan probably looked at George and goes, I'm trying just to do it this way.
I got this, trust me.
I got this.
Trust me, Jorge.
Natalie can deliver her lines like a piece of stale Tupperware.
But Ewan, it's George, not Jorge. All
right,
gotcha.
Like a plastic something. I don't know, that's what that thing... And you look at the original trilogy, and Harrison Ford, I mean,
their deliveries weren't much better. Really, though, if you look at some of the lines from Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, especially in the first one,
right?
They're
for luck.
A little off, maybe.
For luck.
I don't know, Chewbacca's lines were perfect.
Well, I mean, because he's a master.
But then let's get into that too, because it's like, oh my god, the prequels are a fucking mess. And the more I try to defend it, the more it haunts me that I can't defend it.
You can't.
Yeah. I still love them.
I do too.
I don't love them.
I love them, but they're flawed.
I like them as a friend.
See, they said, Anakin, here, okay. This should have been...
They're like my... I love the original trilogy as a wife. The prequel trilogy is kind of like a fuck buddy when I'm alone.
No, see, I can even go that far.
You couldn't? I would go that far.
They're like the girl with a lazy eye.
It's like a one-night stand.
But
I'm a habitual line.
It smells like cheese, and you're like, no, we can be friends.
I've never had a girl.
That's the prequels.
No. I'd still do it.
Yeah. I hope they burnt that Yoda puppet from episode 1.
They released on Blu-ray, or was it DVD actually?
They did, and
they redid that. Yeah,
they did, and it was actually quite nice.
Yeah,
I own it.
And they made the Ewoks blink.
Yeah,
did they?
Yeah, in Jedi.
I didn't know that.
When they put it out on Blu-ray, which I'm fine with. A lot of people were bitchy about that. I was like, it makes sense.
Yeah, why not?
They got dry eyes.
Well, not. Yeah.
They're zine.
They live in the forest, man. They gotta do something.
Are your eyes dry?
No, I can blink.
Man, it's...
The effects, obviously, Industrial Light and Magic were phenomenal.
None of those,
as usual.
Bad. It almost feels like there's, one of my problems with episode 1. There's almost too many, effects going on in the background, which is part of the problem with what they did in the new movies when they re-released them and they put a fucking Ronto in every scene in the and the dewbacks are hollering. And
you can look at the two, like the original trilogy was character driven. The prequel trilogy was effects driven.
That's a very good analogy.
And we were watching a video before we started the podcast. The guy, Belated Media on YouTube. Look up his videos because he's got what if episode 1 and episode 2. He hasn't done episode 3 yet, but what if they were good? And he goes into how he wouldn't rewrite them. Well, I'm sure any of us would rewrite them if we had the opportunity. But if you just tweaked what they already had,
and
it makes them. And we watched that video. It's a 12-minute video on how to fix episode 2, and we were like, "Why the fuck didn't they make it that way?"
Yeah, no shit.
It would have been 1,000 times better, and it makes them more character-driven movies, like the original trilogy was, and it feels like that. And you're just like, "Fuck, man."
What's it called again?
It's Belated Media.
So go on YouTube, look up Belated Media.
They're called What If Episode 1 or Episode 2 Were Good.
I'm telling you, this guy...
Nails it.
In 15 minutes, he rewrites the entire movie and it makes sense.
And there's some screenwriter, well, his name's George Lucas, but there's some guy that got paid a lot of money at some point to write that.
He paid himself a lot of money.
A lot of money. And then, and you know what, there's something to the whole, and let's just call a spade. Darth Vader should never, ever go, no! And let me tell you something. This is why it's like he does. They entered the same thing into Jedi.
Yeah, at the end of Jedi, where when the Emperor is shocking the shit out of Luke.
And guess who directed that one scene?
George Lucas.
Of
course.
That's the only scene in the whole movie he directed.
And he's like, no.
Yeah. And it makes sense to add that in because he's remembering his wife.
I want to break his fingers.
Remembering.
Yeah. I want to break George Lucas's fingers. I want to start at the tips and work my way down with a hammer. Because you should not be allowed to touch equipment. Old man, go to bed.
Well, that was why I was going to say.
Drink your milk.
Grounded.
I'm glad he's not involved with the new movies. That gives me hope.
Go back to episode 3.
Okay.
Vader's coming on the rack, right? He's coming down from the Frankenstein-esque entrance.
Yes.
Palpatine's over there, and he's hobbling in.
Palpatine
or whatever.
Palpatine.
The Emperor.
Palpatine.
Darth Sidious.
Appletine. No.
Ovaltine. Preparation H, whatever.
I love Ovaltine.
I do too. He comes in, and he goes, "Where's Padme?" And he goes, in your anger, you killed her.
Well, you forgot. Before that, he goes,
Lord Vader, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
He sounds very frail and old.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Like on that Guar song.
He starts like, have you seen me?
Can you hear me?
It's almost like that.
Can you hear me, Lord Vader? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I think that needs to be made.
Can you hear me?
You and Nider need to make that video. That needs to be done.
So he's whispering. He's like, Lord Vader, can you hear me? And he's like, what does he say? He goes, yes, my master. And, how are you? I don't know what he says. He says, in your anger, you killed her.
And he starts freaking out. Like,
okay, imagine this if he didn't say a fucking word. And he stood up.
Who didn't say a word?
Vader.
Oh.
It's quiet. He doesn't break robots. He doesn't do anything. He just stands up, stays still, bows his head, goes to the window, crosses his arms, and goes, where do we begin?
We could have just stormed out. They could have done a million different things.
Let's be realistic. Vader would know through the Force.
Thank you.
If she was dead.
Would he though? I mean,
we don't
know the exact distance. What you know what I mean? They never sent Yoda on Dagobah.
No.
So we don't really know what the extent
there's also the dark side Force Nexus where Yoda's at, kind of shielding him.
Allegedly. This is all
it's all
expanded
in the
universe stuff.
It's all in the tree.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's lots of ways you can get around that.
He's burning dark side incense.
So yeah, we don't know.
But I mean,
maybe
probably
he's got some.
But yeah, the idea where he's like, "Who do I kill now?" Then
yeah,
you know what I mean.
Definitely could have been.
What's my mission now?
I think there was a good portion of the fan base that wanted to see Vader hunt down Jedi.
We all did.
I did.
Like 100% of it.
Still want to see it.
Yeah,
right. That's what I was hoping
this
TV show was going to be.
So
episode 2, in my eyes, episode 1 should not have been him as a child.
No.
Episode 2 should have been episode 1. And there's no reason it couldn't be.
Yeah.
And then episode 3 would be episode 2 where he turns.
In episode 3,
we have the
hunting down
purge of the Jedi. Even you could have some stuff with the kids. I don't know how you would work them in there, but if you've got to, you do.
The younglings.
There's no reason for it to be the way it is, except for the fact that George Lucas has no concept of what we want. And,
yeah, he doesn't.
And/or doesn't care.
No, he does. He's like, I got lots of money.
Pretty much.
And I think he made I think he made those movies not because he wanted to finish the trilogy. I think it was more for financial reasons. I really do.
It worked.
Really? You think he had to eat that bad that he had to?
No, he didn't have to. He was trying. He's all he's doing with those movies, like you said. Those, like Jason said, those movies were effects driven, And at that time, motion capture was just in its kind of infancy. Like the T-1000 from the 1992 Terminator movie, Terminator 2, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was the first kind of really digital effects. Now, I think there's before that, but it was the first time that it had been recognized
as a main character.
As a main character. Now, everything before that was done blue screen, green screen, with small models and such and such. This was the first computer generated. So then you fast forward, 5 or 6 years. And at that time, Jar Jar was a big deal because he was the first fully computer generated character. Now, I'm telling you right now, Weta blew that out of the water with Gollum.
And Jar Jar still looks good.
He does.
But yeah, you're right. The way
at that time, Industrial Light and Magic was by no means a baby company.
No,
but it wasn't what it is today. It's got its fingers in everything. Like today,
if you can watch that documentary on episode 1, if you can bear to do it, there's a moment in the very, very beginning of when they're planning episode 1, and George Lucas has the script. He's sitting there with his design team and his art directors, and I forget the guy's name. He's very, very talented. A very talented team, and all these guys were young at the time. And he's like, well, I want this guy to be able to walk and talk and act in with all the other actors, but he's completely computer-generated. How's that coming? And they look at him and go, we really don't have a good way of doing that right now. So those movies were made to be able to perfect that technology so he could sell it to other companies and therefore for ILM to make more money. Right. That's the bottom line why I think those movies were made. He might have had an itch. He might have said, well, maybe it's time that I should finish what I started, and maybe I should just go ahead and make these movies. But I think there was an underlying cause. I don't think his heart was in it. Anakin Skywalker to be one part James Dean and one part Errol Flynn.
Yeah.
He was none of those. He was a whining, sad pussy who mommy died and he got mad and slaughtered a bunch of sand people. And then he thought Padme was going to die, so then he turns to the dark side of the Force and cries the entire time he does it.
And chokes her to death.
And then chokes her to death like a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on, dude. I mean, you're breaking my heart.
Like her death, literally... She literally lost the will to live.
And that's the stupidest...
Are you fucking kidding me?
You just gave birth to your children. And
you couldn't have given us something else realistic. Like, he crushed her throat. He deprived her of oxygen. She has brain damage. The babies are fine, but she's not going to come out of a coma. Or she's been poisoned by the dark side because he force choked
But
her.
instead she died because of a broken heart. Okay, ladies, if there's ladies listening, I hope there are. Ladies, there
are none.
Ladies, this just means that George Lucas doesn't understand you.
I mean, all of us here are adults. We've all had broken hearts. Yet, here we are.
I never, I've had a broken heart, and I may have written poetry with a black pen on black paper.
In the dark.
While listening to The Cure.
No, I never listened to The Cure.
While listening to Bauhaus.
See, you weren't sad enough.
Not The Cure. Morrissey the idea of listening to The Cure or Morrissey makes me want to slit both my wrists now.
Well, it was Bauhaus that said, The Passion of Lovers is for death, right? So.
Yeah. Maybe I did listen to some Smiths, but
wow,
that's still Morrissey. Yeah. That makes me want to die. What's that song? That the Charm song.
The one for the theme song?
The sun. I am the air.
Slattery.
Oh, I know, right? I don't know, man. It's just wasted. Anakin's wasted. Wasted. It's a wasted character. And there's a couple parts that I think are the part I'll say I think is great. The episode 3 when he slaughters all the separatists. That was pretty fucking cool. Awesome. The Sand People part I liked.
I like that too.
I hate they were all animals. Yeah, slaughter them like animals.
Slobbering.
I hate them. And I'm like, dude.
You're terrible.
You're terrible. And yeah, the end they said, well, it's going to be okay. Just stick your dick in me later. It'll be fine. Let me wear this really super tight shirt. And it'll be really cold. And it'll see my THO.
They really turned down the temperature in that spaceship, didn't they?
I'm telling you, man. I think George is kind of a perv, man.
He is, yeah. Without doubt, man.
He's like whispering over to Rick McCallum. He's like, hey, go ahead and just turn that down. Turn it down to about 65. I bet they poke out in like 30 seconds.
We did get Keira Knightley in episode 1 though.
Yeah, we did, which is kind of cool.
Only for like
2
5
seconds.
minutes, and you don't even know it's her for the most part.
And you know who was really? And we were talking about people who were fucking wasted. Who was fucking wasted, bigger than fucking R2D2 and C3PO?
The whole 3PO in episode 2, I hated.
Oh my god,
I hated
Yeah,
that. The droid factory bullshit.
It was
over the top.
There's a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, it was
Really,
definitely
really
that was for the
unnecessary.
kids for sure.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff. It's like
Die, Jedi scum!
it's pandering in
Yeah.
a way. I mean, they didn't. None of that. If you look at the first 3 movies, there's nothing in those movies that are like that.
Not at
No,
all.
not at all.
And we loved it.
Fuck yeah, we did.
And it wasn't just like, oh, I got to put this in for the kids. You know, stop worrying so much about how much movies you're going to make on action figures and toys, and why don't you just make a fucking movie?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, those things are. Star Wars is a fucking phenomenon, and it has been. And then so I'm just sad.
The prequels make me sad.
They do. It makes me sad because it's a wasted opportunity. And I'm telling you, what was that guy's?
Belated media. That guy fucking nails it.
Once
He
you
really
see
does.
that,
Man. There's storyboards and everything.
The whole
it's great.
thing that we were talking about being character driven, he makes Obi-Wan the main character
Yes.
for these 3 movies. Sure, it's about Darth Vader. The last movies were about Darth Vader, but he's in the background. He's more of, we're seeing his story through somebody else's eyes.
Yeah.
And he gets back to that.
George Lucas has given numerous interviews where he backtracks on a story. I've read where he has said the original trilogy is about Luke, prequel trilogy is about Vader. The entire all 6 movies are told through R2D2's eyes. It's all about R2D2. I have read all 3 of those things.
R2D2 doesn't make any. All he does is make beeps and bloops.
Right.
So basically, if we had an audiobook, it'd be beeps and bloops.
Pretty much. The whole thing.
It's not even really.
Although I would listen to that
I would
because
too.
just because.
I would too, man. I would totally listen to that. Listen to me, I'm like, I would too. I would totally listen to it. Amazing. But see, now that you got skepticism, because as much as we said, oh, okay, the prequels were bad because the writing was horrible, the acting wasn't great. There are spots that are brilliant and great, and then there's 4 times that are bad. It could have been totally better. It could have been 100% better, but we didn't make it. We paid for it, but we didn't make it.
Repeatedly.
So check out the YouTube page again. What was that guy?
Belated Media.
Belated
and we'll put
Media.
a link to it on our.
Yeah, we'll put it up on the Facebook because that I'm telling you
It's really cool.
I wish he would make the one for episode 3 because the first 2 are so good and he's so right.
We got to figure out what that guy's name is.
Yeah, I need to call him or something.
We need to have Disney hire this guy.
Yeah, please. Because that's the thing. You're talking about a whole new set of prequel. You're probably on a whole new set of movies, sequels to the originals, and I'm sure we'll cover that at some point. But you
got Damon Lindelof.
Oh, please, he's
so
not involved.
Monkey Wrench.
He's not involved.
He's
not
J.J.
involved.
Abrams is making. He's involved.
Even
if it's not credited, he's
Lindelof
got his
is
fingers
ghostwriting
in it.
this shit.
Right, he's got his fingers all up in that shit. You're going to have
Ghost.
midi-chlorians are going to be back. But
Ghost Rider, man.
There's going to be shit that doesn't make any sense, and there's going to be questions that aren't answered, and
Well, you have to you want to have faith that they won't fuck it up. You know, you get a Boba Fett movie. Who wouldn't pay to see that?
Yeah, as long as they're not
Communists, that too.
retconning the way they were talking. If they're retconning the way they've been talking about, I won't fucking see it.
how's that?
Remember I told you about that?
Yeah, we saw that. There was an article saying that originally they wanted to open the movie with somebody killing the little Boba Fett clone and taking his armor, and that being the Boba Fett that we know. And there was a novel like that too.
There were, yeah.
So it's not, but that brings back the
Then-
mystery of Boba Fett, which I gotta say I like because
Doesn't that kind of
you need that
Then
mysterious
it's not Boba Fett. It's
Isn't
a
it
guy
though?
wearing Boba Fett's armor.
Yeah, but the Boba Fett we have is a douche. So,
But he
Solo
doesn't
is
have to be
not
because we only saw him as a kid. We never saw him as an adult.
Right, maybe this guy is a little more badass.
maybe.
Maybe this kid grew up and became badass.
But I'm kind of with you. That kind of makes him a little more interesting.
You need that mystery in some of our characters. Darth Vader, which has already been destroyed. Boba Fett, which has now been destroyed.
Yeah.
Maybe not, because we know he was as a kid. We don't know what he did from that time until...
Are we going to get a Salacious Crumb standalone movie? 'Cause that's what I want to
Sign
see.
me up.
I'd
I'll do
watch
it.
that.
Yeah, I'll watch that.
I watched the shit out of that.
I would watch the shit out of that nonstop. I think he needs to have his own Saturday morning cartoon show.
Hell yeah.
I'd watch that.
Either that or he can have his own late night nudie show.
Ooh.
I'd watch that too.
I'd watch
Like
that too.
Tales from the Crypt. He can just announce them all.
And that could be the whole thing. And then boobies. Yeah, and then boobies. And bouncing boobies. And you hear him like...
Nothing but chicks in slave layout.
But you know, that's the problem with any of these movies we're going to get. Sequels, spin-off movies. There's a danger of them fucking it up. With the Boba Fett. Will they fuck it up? Maybe.
Maybe.
Will they fuck up the new movies? Maybe. It's just, it's the unknown. But we've been burned. So now we're not as optimistic. Now we're not standing in line for 24 hours to get tickets.
Look,
now we're like,
here's my thing. As long as Christopher Nolan isn't involved, I'll fucking watch it.
keep him and Lindelof away from it.
Yeah. This week, Nolan and Lindelof to make a movie. An original movie.
That just made my...
That made me sad.
Made my bowels
I
kind
just
of...
lost my pizza.
It hurt my heart. But you know what, though? If they do that, we don't have to watch it.
That's true.
That pretty much wraps up our prequel. I mean, honestly...
We could go on for
We could probably go on for hours, but here's the thing. Even though it's Star Wars, and on some level we enjoy it, it's never going to hit the bar the first three, number one. Number two... It could have been so much better, and the fact that we know it could have been better, it's sad.
It's very sad.
You don't have the heart being put into it that was put in the original trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I really honestly think those movies were made so they could further the ILM digital.
But are we back to that now with J.J. Abrams?
I don't think so.
He originally said he wasn't going to make them because he's too big of a fan.
So there's a lot of pressure, obviously.
I imagine there's going to be a shit ton of pressure. But when you have someone who is truly a fan of the material and grew up with it like he did and we did, does that maybe make us have a little bit of hope that it could be good?
You know, I'm a really firm believer in when I see the first trailer for it, I'll comment.
I don't know about trailers, but when we start seeing some things and some that they're filming, we haven't seen any of the casting. We assume the original folks are back. We don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing's been officially announced.
Well, the original cast keeps going back and forth on what they're
right.
saying.
They keep flip-flopping.
They're supposed to make an announcement here pretty soon.
Allegedly, they've already built a Falcon, a full-size Falcon again.
So there's only one guy can be flying that.
They're better fucking
Lando Calrissian.
Yeah. With Nia Num.
Nia Num.
Put Chewbacca and Han back on that thing.
Oh heck yeah!
But I don't know, man. I'm nervous. They're going to take all the books that came after Jedi and they're going to throw them out. All the expanded universe stuff.
I'm fine with that.
Some of that stuff's really good.
Some of it's really good.
Some of it's really bad.
But here's the thing: if they throw it all out, guess what? We'll get it all again in a different way. And I'm okay with that.
Right. But as long as it's makes sense, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It's mind.
Well, the Lucas books have consolidated down and gotten somebody. I think it's Leland Chi. I could be wrong. Gotten somebody in charge of spearheading and making its own. Like the guy's basically like Kevin Feige for the Star Wars books.
I didn't need that.
Yeah, he's approving and disapproving. Everything goes by him.
Because there's so much stuff. They've gone so far. Like the new Jedi Order stuff. I didn't even have time. I couldn't. They were coming at me so fast.
Who has time to read a 19-book series?
No. I couldn't do it. I know Chris did, but I couldn't do it.
I did them on audiobook, but hey, even then, that's a lot of fucking time, man.
It was pretty extensive. It paid off, though. The payoff was really good. And that was a really interesting read. But the fact is, I kind of like that all that is going to be expunged. Or we don't know it's all going to be expunged. Maybe some will be used. Maybe some won't. We have no idea what's
the stuff
coming.
with Han and Leia's twins. I love that concept and that one turns evil.
If there's one story I could get as a... You couldn't do it as one movie. You just couldn't. So you probably would have to do it as a trilogy. Would be the original Dark Empire from Dark Horse.
Yeah.
I have those.
Fantastic.
I'm telling you, I wouldn't be too surprised if that's where they go.
I would love it.
Then you have
the World Eaters
Luke turning the dark side for
bring back the Emperor,
or kind of faking like he had it all under control, because he basically like, I got this. I got this under control.
Didn't he blow up a planet though? Like
you have to bring in holocrons.
Which
you have to bring in
bring that shit in.
Some of the stuff from Tales of the Jedi from the Dark Horse series.
Yeah.
You've got. I don't know how they're going to handle that, and that's very well why you get a completely clean slate.
Right, because Marvel is not going to touch it. Disney's not going to touch anything Dark Horse did. They won't. They probably can't.
I don't know. I bet there's a rule that they can because they own that shit.
I don't know, man. It was released under Dark Horse. And maybe, I don't know. Well, then again, Dark Horse re-released all the Marvel comics as omnibuses. So, yeah, maybe.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. Yeah. And as we start getting bits of news,
we'll
be on here chattering about it because we'll be so freaking excited.
Be geeking out.
Even though right now we're saying, I don't know, man. I don't know. But as soon as we
start getting my heart broken.
As soon as we see some, like, the first pics from the set, we're going to be squealing like little girls.
I'm going to go home tonight and watch episode 1 on Blu-ray.
I might do that just because.
I do it, I'll fall asleep.
Yeah. It's getting a little late. It's 10 o'clock. So.
Well, I mean, so, the prequels are kind of a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Well,
mostly bad.
It's mostly bad, but there are some good things about it.
Like 70-30.
70-30. I'll take 70-30.
I think that's fair.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for this week. Please, you can check us out on iTunes at the iTunes Store. You can also check out our House of Gozer YouTube channel because you just type in House of Gozer now. It comes up fine.
They fix it?
Yep.
Yeah, they did.
You can go to houseofgozer.com. Links are up on our Facebook page, facebook.com, House of Gozer, /House of Gozer. All the stuff we talked about in the big thing this week, we'll have pictures and stuff up by the time this...
all up in the big...
And if you guys want to send us an email, that's great. houseofgozer at AOL.com.
Because Grandpa set it up.
Yeah. His grandpa set it up.
Baby.
If you like what you hear, let us know and subscribe. And as always, thanks for listening, man. Annihilate your week.
Peace out.
Later. Happy Valentine's Day.
Now shut up.
For Valentine's Day, I put a stack of $50 bills in the road and set it on fire.
You may as well.
You might as well.
For Valentine's Day, I burned a bunch of pornos.
Actually, for Valentine's Day, it's actually my anniversary, too.
Oh, yeah.
So I gotta say that. We've been married 4 years, my wife, Beth, and I. Yay. Happy anniversary.
That probably won't be in the podcast.
I know. You can say that I put it in there, though.
Yeah, I can do. I can say it, but
Chris edited it out.
Chris is a dick.
He's going to edit your face out.